This story is part of the international project Around the World in 8 Ways, created by סיגל and Rom Galilee. The story for What Did the Bells Toll was originally written by Rom Golan in Hebrew. It was first translated into English using Copilot and then into additional languages using Synthesia. The project explores the quality and emotional depth of poetic translation done by artificial intelligence. For What Did the Bells Toll? Above the red button on the remote control rested the thumb of Mikey Oliver as a tear slid down his cheek. It would have been easy to mistake it for something else, perhaps an eye melting after too many hours of flickering television, jumping from channel to channel. But no drop is identical to another. This was a tear, and a tear of joy, joy and fortune. All this happened late at night. The crickets had already gone to sleep and the chickens were just about to cluck. In a sleepy suburb on the outskirts of Cincinnati, Mikey Oliver sat in his armchair and refused to fall asleep. It wasn't that his lifestyle was particularly active. The more his sleep drifted away, the deeper he sank into the worn-out cushion. His bed barely knew him anymore. His eyes never closed on a mattress. And between long blinks and light dozing while sitting upright, the color black appeared beneath his heavy eyelids. For some people, Mikey included, black was never a color but the absence of one. And with emptiness, boredom never failed to arrive. Boredom by its nature induces sleep, and God knows Mikey needed a proper rest. But sleep brings dreams, and when those dreams are dull, there isn't much left to hope for. So it was no wonder Mikey fought to stay awake with every piggish snore. But Mikey Oliver's life hadn't always been stuck between 4 walls. Not long ago, he still woke up in the mornings and slept at night. But that was long ago, or at least felt long ago, before a certain virus you may have heard of. Since then, like countless others, Mikey found himself between jobs. Like many, Mikey hated being told to stay home. But the federal helicopter circling above America kept dropping packages of money, and even Mikey knew it was rather nice to earn a living by sleeping late. He spent his time drifting between glass screens that told him what to watch. And once they tell you what to watch, they tell you how to feel until the hours piled up and dulled every sense, leaving only a conditioned response that begins with drool and ends with a ringing bell, a door opening, a rushed delivery man, and yet another box containing something he'd been told to buy. The days blurred together. Mikey often confused Tuesday with Wednesday, Wednesday with Thursday, and when he mixed up Saturday and Sunday, he no longer bothered checking. The reserve helicopter no longer dropped the same packages as before. After a few rounds, it simply hovered above the houses with a megaphone, asking all the jobless folks to return to the office. Like many, Mikey hated being asked to return to the office. Suddenly he longed for the madness of the early pandemic, for the excuse that allowed him to stay where nothing was bad, even if he'd forgotten what was good. He doubted those who once said that staying home was essential for his health, because now those same people claimed that for mental health, one must go outside. He had read enough news to know the world was bad, though less bad through a screen. Mikey, like many others, never truly left the lockdown. But what about income? One glance at the unopened boxes piled in the corner was enough for him to understand that free money comes at a high price. There was no job Mikey wouldn't do, so long as it didn't require stepping outside his door. He wandered through digital forums, entering and exiting the revolving doors of anonymous websites. One day he was scammed by a merchant whose tongue wasn't even particularly smooth, but after so long without using his vocal cords, Mikey tended to believe there was truth in every syllable. "That's life," the man told him after Mikey scolded him. And so Mikey understood that suckers don't die, they multiply. All that's left is to gather more suckers beneath you. A sucker can't climb the pyramid, he can only help widen the base and sink deeper. What did the man sell him? Land on the moon. He swore Mikey could sell it later for profit, and Mikey swore he would indeed profit. He searched for online trading courses and found endless options, each instructor convinced he had discovered the method. That's when Mikey realized there was no method. Soon he was running online shops where he bought boxes cheaply and sold them at a markup, sometimes without even checking what was inside. Sometimes they were empty. There will always be someone who buys, he thought. Someone will always click, even by mistake. Later, he became interested in the stock market. He didn't need to understand economics to open an advice channel called Million Freedmen. All he had to do was watch videos of various sophists and imitate whoever had the most followers. Naturally, he bought the proper equipment, a good camera, bright lighting, a microphone that gave his voice a deep resonance, and shirts. His gimmick was wearing a different colored shirt in every video. Pants weren't necessary. Sometimes he filmed in boxes, safely out of frame. Night after night, he scoured forums to discover the next hot stock he could recommend to clients for an extra under-the-table fee. Until one night, he received an anonymous message from the greedy prince. A short message with the hashtag, "Tear down the Wall Street."